Hey guys, welcome to Framestay, and today I'll talk about Fuji, my Fuji X-T5, a Viltrox lens, and how I came close to selling the Viltrox lens almost for no fault of its own. Let's talk about it. So the camera in question is the Fuji X-T5 and the lens in question is a Viltrox 75 1.2. This lens. Now this lens is available for the Sony mount, the Nikon mount as well. I don't think it's still available for the Canon mount, which is a shame because this is a fantastic lens. I'll talk about this lens. When I updated my Fuji X-T5 recently to the latest Fuji X-T5 firmware, I write down the firmware version name somewhere, I kind of realized that a lot of conversations on negative press on Fuji was true because I hadn't really updated my Fuji's firmware till now. But once I did it this time, hoping that it's going to give me an edge over my previous firmware performance, I realized that this is actually worse because now whenever you're shooting video and you have to transition between point A to point B, it kind of moves in steps. And initially I thought it's the Viltrox lens because I was trying the Viltrox 27 1.2 and the 75 1.2. And I thought that, well, this is not really usable. So I came to a point when I decided to sell off my entire Fuji system. And yeah, I honestly, I love the Fuji experience, the color, files, everything. And also the compact body and everything. But I came to a point when I decided to sell off my Fuji system and put a bit more money, maybe reuse that money to buy other stuff for building out the studio and put in some money to buy some better Sony lenses. But then I slept over it. I spent some time on it, and I'm thinking of giving the Fuji a chance. I'm thinking, okay, instead of just getting rid of the system altogether, maybe I should just go lean on the Fuji system, and so therefore get rid of a few lenses that I don't use as much, and keep a few lenses that are essential. So the lenses that I decided to keep, definitely I wouldn't touch, is the original kit lens, the 18 to 55 kit lens that originally used to come with the Fuji cameras. Now they have this updated newer version which is weather sealed, but I think the original is fantastic. That's not a weather sealed lens, but that lens is really beautiful in terms of just the output and image quality. I think that lens has character. It's a kit lens that has character. The second lens is the 33 1.4. Another lens that I absolutely love from Fuji. I have so many 50mm equivalent lenses, but the 33 1.4 is a lens that I can't think of selling. And even if I had sold the entire system, I would have kept the 33 1.4 just in case I buy into the Fuji system again in future. So, but I re-looked at everything else. I have the Sigma 56 1.4, a good lens, a tiny lens, 85 85 f2 equivalent, good. I have the Viltrox 23 1.4, a pretty old lens, but the autofocus is really nice, especially for video. The other two lenses are this Viltrox 75 1.2, which I don't use a lot because a 75mm lens on an APS-C body is about 129mm 1.8. It's equivalent to 135, just short of 135, which honestly is not a bad thing to have for a Fuji system because if you look at the size, this is not a very large setup overall. For any full frame 135 lens with a full frame camera, the footprint is going to be definitely bigger than this one. So I think in many situations this is going to be a great weapon for stunning portrait photography in event situations or even travel situations. I think it offers a unique perspective on the world, even if you do street photography. And I think I've used this lens twice. On the day when I bought it out of curiosity, I just kept shooting, and I went on a trip. I took this lens and I felt kind of constrained because this is such a telephoto lens. But then when I came back and I looked at the photos, I loved everything that this lens captured. I loved everything that this lens captured. But at this point, I had forgotten all of that. I just looked at my frequency of usage of a lens and how much money I've sort of put in that. Can I take some of the money out of those stuff and reinvest that or reuse that in other things that I'm going to use more. For example, I'm now shooting this on the Sigma 51.2. It's a Sony mount lens adapted to the Nikon Z8. I absolutely love the image output of the 51.2, and now I'm wondering why didn't I go for a 51.2 before? Because like once I use this lens, this 51.2, it's so addictive. It's difficult to get out of this. I didn't think of the Nikon 51.2 because it is much bigger and heavier, and there are compromises when you adapt this particular lens to the Nikon system because the camera takes like 10 seconds to wake up. But for example, this is a lens that I put my money behind because this is a lens that I'm going to use. I'm going to use here while recording YouTube videos. Forever I've been using the Tamron 35 1.4 with one of these Nikon bodies for these kind of videos. But for the last few videos, I recorded this on the 51.2 and I've been loving it. So I thought maybe I should just think about what other lenses are important. For example, I'm looking at the Viltrox 16mm 1.8, and I think that's a lens I should have because there are often these projects when I need an ultra wide angle lens and I don't own an ultra wide angle lens apart from the APS-C Sony 11mm 1.8. So the Viltrox 16 1.8 looks interesting to me. Maybe I should just sell off this Viltrox 75 to APS-C and get the full frame 16mm 1.2. What a great term. What a weird term. Like, exchange 135 equivalent lens for 16mm. Today in the middle of the night, I've been researching again on this lens. I went through all the pictures that I've taken and I'm thinking, am I selling it for the right reasons? This Viltrox 75 1.2 is it's a stunning lens. Okay, it's absolutely gorgeously sharp even on APS-C 40 megapixel camera like the like the XT5 or the XH2. It's a very demanding sensor, and this lens is absolutely stunning. I heard someone talk about how Viltrox put this lens together. Apparently they got the glass elements for this lens specially made from Japan. These elements are made by Hoya. Now the front element of this lens is a 77mm wide lens. It's a pretty large front element lens, front element for an APS-C camera. It has almost no chromatic aberration. It has it has no chromatic aberration. It has no longitudinal chromatic aberration. The only little bit of problem, it has almost no vignetting. It has got no distortion. The autofocus is good. It's quite decent and tolerable for a portrait lens of this kind. Well, it's not fast like the 135 plena, but it's good enough. I updated the firmware for this one. I'm now running the 1.05 version of the Viltrox firmware for this lens, and I think I'm seeing a distinct improvement in the focusing speed. It's more sure. It's got no problem. This lens is absolutely fine. In fact, it's not fine, it's a fantastic lens. Yes, it's got a little bit of ghosting when you're shooting straight into the light, but then on almost a 130mm lens, if you are still shooting, then you have to shoot straight at the light source, which, well, you shouldn't be doing on a lens like this. But those situations may arise, and for that you have a pretty large lens hood to kind of give you some cover for those flares. But that's a minor inconvenience. Apart from that, this lens is absolutely stunning. It's got an autofocus manual focus button there. It's got a beautiful aperture ring which can be, I think, declicked. No, it cannot be declicked, but it's got a beautiful aperture ring making a nice smooth, look at this sound. The sound, it's clicky but smooth. Like they have got everything about this lens just right. It's sharp till almost f11. Like APS-C lens, a 40mm APS-C lens starts showing this diffraction starting 5.6. This lens is sharp at least till f8. I know because my Fuji 33 1.8 4. And I've used the 56 1.2 from Fuji as well. Both those lenses start showing diffraction starting f8, and f11 there is distinct diffraction. This lens has very little image quality loss on a 40 megapixel sensor at f8. So oh my god, what was I going to do? Definitely I want to lean down still on the Fuji system, and I'm probably going to sell off a few lenses. But this one, look, what makes it complicated is the fact that I have this fantastic Samyang 135 1.8 for the Sony system. I absolutely love that lens, and it's got decent macro capability. We are shooting portraits, and suddenly you see a shot when you just need to come in close and take those nice semi macro shots. You can take that easily with that Samyang. This lens cannot close focus that much. The minimum focus distance is a bit longer than that of that Samyang lens. But the way this lens helped me focus and frame the best part of a location, of a subject, of a building, of some architecture, of some art. Oh, you can't do that with a 50mm lens. You need a long lens like a 105 or a 135 for that. What options do I have? A full frame lens, which is a full frame body, which is heavier, a full frame lens, which is heavier, like the Sony A7 IV and that. And I don't like the straight out of the camera output that much out of the Sony. The other option is to take my Nikons and use a macro lens, the 105 2.8, but that's a 2.8 lens. It can focus close, but there are situations when you're focused very close and now you have to focus far away. It takes a bit of time to move from its close focus points to the telephoto end of the focus points. It sort of takes a bit of time because it's a macro lens. It's a bit slower than most other lenses when you use its full focus range. This one doesn't have a problem. Or I have to use a 70 to 200 on any of my Nikon bodies. All those options are not ideal. They're not as compact. They're not as friendly. This one is, and I was thinking of selling it off. And I think when I started making this video, I wasn't sure. I was undecided. And as I talk about it more and more, I'm kind of convinced that I should not actually sell this lens off, because, well, I'm not going to get the full money back. I'm going to get like 65-70% of the money back if I sell it tomorrow. I posted a bunch of lenses and I said that I'm going to sell them off, like the Samyang 51.4 version 2. Now that I have the Sigma 51.2, the Fuji 27 2.8, the Viltrox 27 1.2, this one, the Viltrox 75 1.2, and there was another, I think, I forget which one, but there is another. And of all these lenses, I get the most interest. Like, most people want to buy the 75 1.2. And for a good reason. This is a fantastic lens. This is a unique lens which you don't have actually. You don't have anything like that in the Fuji system or in the Sony APS system. This is a unicorn lens, and you've been seeing some of the images out of this lens, and I'm sure you've been loving those images. The output is optically almost perfect. But I came to this point of thinking of selling this lens because the Fuji system, the X-T5 with its firmware updates and downgrades, pushed me to a point where I started sort of blaming a third-party manufacturer in a way, and I started thinking that it's not good enough for me. But the lens is fantastic. It's just that the Fuji is my dedicated APS system, and if Fuji goes this way, then I will think of, like, very unwillingly, I'll think of getting a A6700, possibly with this lens. I still want to give Fuji another chance. I started reviewing the X-T5, I think almost 1.5 years back, and I've done multiple videos. I think I've done almost 3 videos comparing this with the ZF at different points in time. To look at where the ZF is right now, where the Nikon system is right now, versus where it was when the ZF was actually launched about a year back, and versus when the X-T5 was launched about almost like 1.5 years back. It's ridiculous right now. Like, at that point, I thought that the X-T5 and ZF is a fair comparison. Right now, it's not. I won't compare the ZF with X-T5. The ZF is so far ahead, because when the autofocus is flawless, so user-friendly, and when the autofocus on the X-T5 is absolutely not user-friendly at all, it forces every lens to act weird. Why would you have steps in exposure adjustment? Why would you have steps in autofocus with every lens? It makes no sense at all. So it's not for Viltrox's fault that I thought of selling the Viltrox 75-1.2. It's completely because of Fuji, my X-T5. Yes, for photo, I think the Fuji X-T5 is okay. It's not, definitely, it's far from ideal. But at the same time, I know the F-Log 2 profile is fantastic. It's really good. It's very flat curve, lock curve, and it's got a lot of power, a lot of potential, a lot of flexibility, malleability. And I think it's a really nice system to use for that purpose. But it's just that I have to put my lenses on manual focus mode and then shoot videos. I can do that when I'm behind the camera. It's difficult to do that when I'm in front of the camera. I can still do it. I just have to freeze my body in one place, like fix my body and stay sort of, still and not move. So yeah, there you have it. It's a bit of a conversation with you on the Viltrox 75-1.2. Definitely go and buy this lens. And no matter what system you're on, yeah, if unfortunately on the Canon system, you can't. But go and get the Viltrox 75-1.2. Subscribe to our channel, help me reach 8,000 subscribers. I'm going to see you soon with another conversation. Let me know what you want to see next. And what's your opinion? Am I making the right choice? Should I sell out the Viltrox 1.2? Maybe sell the entire system. Just keep the Fuji X-T5 body and the 33 1.4. I can even sell that off and just get the, X106 or even X105V, X100V. I can do that, and just whatever money is left, I can put that behind an APS-C Sony body and a few lenses. That's doable. Let me know what you think. I'm going to see you soon with another one.